everybody, welcome back. Today I have the absolute brilliant privilege of hosting Zoe Irwin, who is, well, one of the only people I've ever let near my hair, which is saying something because there aren't many of those people. Zoe is a major hairstylist. She cuts, she colours, she's a global ambassador for Wella, and literally someone who just really gets what we want from our hair. That's one of the reasons that I trust Zoe so much, because she just understands how precious my hair is to me and what I want if I try and describe something. In fact, Zoe was the one who took me short and the last person who has been near my hair with scissors. So yeah, I love her basically. So Zoe, hello, how are you?
Hey, good to speak to you. I'm good. Yeah, really good.
Tell everybody like a bit about what you're doing at the moment and how things are working, what you're up to right now, because obviously actually cutting people's hair is quite difficult, isn't it, at the moment?
We're all kind of adapting and also answering a lot of hair questions, which is, you know, people are in a time where they're panicking about their hair. I mean, we're actually, I feel like 10 days in from when we closed the salon, or 8 days, and the amount of calls I've had from my clients is unbelievable. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm quite lucky because I'm kind of low maintenance in that I've traditionally always coloured my own hair unless I've had like a treat thing going on. But I'm not good at getting my hair cut because I'm not good at organising appointments. But I know so many people who are literally like, oh my God, we're going to find out what our real hair looks like now. So I think,
yeah,
and it's terrifying. So, and I think that there's a risk that people might go too far on something and actually ruin their hair for a long time. Because I know, having had, which is one of the reasons that I'm a bit weird about hair, is because I had a bad haircut about 10 years ago, and it took 6 years for my hair to even feel like my hair again, let alone, and it's still really there. I mean, you don't recover quickly from a hair disaster, do you?
No, the psychological impact of how that makes you feel, it really starts to make you think about your confidence. I mean, I just before I joined Wella, I test a lot of beauty products like you do, because I judge many of the beauty awards, and one of the things I tested within the hair colour kind of market was a colour remover, and I had put kind of a experimental tone on my hair, and I basically turned my hair purple. So completely by mistake, by probably pushing it a little bit too far because it was on me. And so I went to a friend of mine who is, you know, a fantastic colorist, and he said, there's this great product that I've heard about. We actually were sent it, and can I try it? Can I put it on you? And I was like, yeah, of course, it's a color remover. Anyway, cut to the fact that pretty much most of my hair has come out. You know, the reason that I've got short hair, this is a 1.5 years to grow this back. So what happened was the color remover damaged my hair so much that when I blow dried it, it came off in a brush. And so I'm someone that's so passionate about this because I've lived through, you know, the idea, like I've got a very odd shaped haircut at the moment where I'm waiting for layers to grow out. And the psychological effect of losing my hair for the last 1.5 years has been so huge that it's put me into, you know, quite a different place where I think I've understood it far more. You know, I've always been sympathetic as a colorist, but I think now it's like the main thing I think about. And that's why I think, you know, I really wanted to talk to you about this time that people are at home, because things can go really wrong if you go online and you buy a colour and put it on your hair. You're looking at often years of repair on that. You know, something you kind of think, oh, I'm just going to do it on my root and it's going to be fine. Well, that root has to grow all the way down at some point. And what I'm nervous about in this period is, you know, us not giving enough advice on what to do, because I think that if you use a product, one of the things I found with people that do their hair at home, if the phone rings or someone says, oh, can you just watch the you know, watch the food or watch the child, you know, our child or something like that, then if you leave it on for too long, it can drop down like quite a few shades.
Yeah.
And you can start with a light brown and end up with a black root.
Basically, what can we do at home?
So I feel that the thing that causes like the least damage but also gives you a really, really good result is something that we used to call a vegetable colour. So it's kind of called like a conditioning colour. And that is just an extremely safe option. And so one of the things that I work with is called Colour Fresh, which is it's available online. And this is something that it will cover us. It will kind of like almost blend your greys through if you have if you have a lot of grey hair. But I mainly use it to add colour to the rest of the hair, like for example, with highlights, a lot of people won't be able to obviously go to the salon and have a glaze or a toner. So I'd use it to tone the colour so it's not brassy. Sometimes if the highlights feel like you've got a very strong root on them, to add like a very soft gold beige tone can blend them really beautifully in. When you go to a salon, the salon will mix several colours together to create your colour. It isn't that you buy one thing. And so it's just to kind of maybe speak to your own hairdresser about it, but kind of blend a few colours. So for example, if you're a warmer brown, you can mix, you know, two together, one which will cover the grey, but also something else that will put the tone in. And the hairdressers can really advise you. I know that that's something that I'm doing. John Frieda is advising my clients on what to use.
Right.
That's something that's extremely safe. So it's not mixed with what some people call an activator. So it's not mixed with anything else, which means that the important part is it will not penetrate the hair. Like it won't get stuck within the cuticles. So basically some things we have will change the size of the molecule, which will essentially change the structure of the hair, and this won't, which means that you can happily go back to your stylist whenever that is, and they won't be trying to rectify that. You'll still look good,
right?
And that's important. Yeah. Also, we have one thing we've got is time, and so we have got time on our hands to do this. Like, this is something that will last, we say 6 to 8 washes. But if you're not washing your hair, every day, then obviously that could be every other week. And it doesn't take that long. So, and also the effects of a conditioning kind of colour is that you get this amazing shine. So your blow dry will look really good. The ends of your hair will look amazing. And I think that we're still in contact on Zoom calls. We're still doing house parties. So we still want to look good.
Yeah,
even if it's like the front.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to look like you've completely lost it.
And also, I've really thought about beauty a lot this week, because I've really thought about how I feel on the difference with when I wake up in the morning and I still put my dress on, I still do my makeup. I feel so different than if I don't do any of those things and have my tracksuit on. So I think the way I'm getting through this emotionally is by still using blusher and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, God, the power of a bit of blush to make you feel alive, hey?
I know. So yeah, so that's one of the things you can do. Another thing, I mean, there's lots of different like powders and pens and coloured sprays that aren't going to upset anything. I've got Colour Wow here. I know loads of people use Colour Wow, and a lot of people use it to fill in when they've got grey roots.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk to you about the idea that it's amazing if you have balayage and if you have highlights, because I think we're talking a lot about if your hair is grey, but not a lot about if you just generally have a colour that's grown out.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show you that, really.
Basically, it's like trying to kind of almost fake your balayage.
It's just about adding a bit of it. Instead of having like a very strong line, it adds a glimmer of kind of light.
Right.
And it's amazing how the thing is with the powders is with this one, it's designed to kind of stick to your hair. I mean, you can even get your hair wet and it stay, it's actually quite amazing, which is why it's so popular. But I thought to use it, you know, for something like a Zoom call or house party, if you spent like 5 minutes just putting this through, your hair would actually look quite amazing. So I'm going to just load up it's got 2 ends to it, and I'm going to use a smaller one. Can you see that? And load up the brush, and then, I mean, I have a full head colour, so it's a bit different, but I just want to show you, you would literally go and paint areas on. It's actually amazing.
Oh my God,
so
I was not expecting it to look that good. That's amazing.
I mean, it's probably a bit hard to see because I'm so light, but I thought I can just show you.
It's like a highlight.
Yeah, it's like this amazing highlight with it's got a glisten in it, so it kind of pops, it makes your hair. So what I would do is do your hairline, so come in here, and that is where most hairdressers do a very pale highlight at the front, so that's the part you're going to have a regrowth on. Then I would do my front hairline like through here, and the idea is to go over the section a few times, almost like if you think about when you do your brows and how much you need to blend it. I think it's really good to approach this in the same way. But can you see I've got a regrowth here where my colour does, you know, it's been done a few weeks ago, and actually like it totally gets rid of it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I think that I love the idea of that. I actually like the idea of it in a dark as well, is instead of just going like this, breaking it up, like it actually is amazing on the difference that it makes.
It's really luminous as well.
Yeah, it is really luminous. And one of the things I thought about is what you could do is have this in a couple of different shades. So when you're darker, if you've got a grey regrowth but you have highlights, you could also do something that's like a dark blonde, you know, literally one darker one lighter one.
Amazing.
That is super effective, and that is going to mean that your hairdresser can continue to do your colour in a beautiful way, rather than having to go back to her with like a dark piece in it. Or I mean, doing bleach at home can be horrific. I mean, if you try to do your own highlights, or your end's going to end up with something quite yellow, or the worst case, something that just falls off your head. So that's what, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. That's such a great tip.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I'd like to say is, be mindful of what you do is going to be on your head for a long time.
Especially up there.
Especially up there. So with split ends, I mean, I feel the thing is about when you start to cut your split ends is it's really addictive. And before you know it, I mean, honestly, I've seen so many clients addicted to it, and then all of a sudden they've taken out the side of their hair, or, you know, because you can get to this front bit. So I don't know, I still think it's better to, serums are amazing for, you know, like covering it and not making it split so much. I think you need to be careful. If you really, really, really have to do it, then twisting the hair and pulling them up and just taking that tiny little split off. But honestly, I am worried about it, because lots of people get very excited.
And also they don't have the right tools, like the right scissors.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things is our scissors are very, very sharp. I mean, they're kind of precision tools. And when mine were £1,000 to buy, you know, so when you try, when you try to do it with like your kitchen scissors or your nail scissors, things go very wrong. So, I mean, one of the things you can do is trim your fringe if you're very gentle with it.
Right, okay.
I wouldn't recommend doing anything around here. I mean, again, I've just seen so many disasters.
Any tips for the fringe? Would you ever recommend, imagine if I'm like this, I am so bored of my hair, I want a fringe. Could I
don't think that's, I mean, I think if you already have a fringe that needs a tiny bit off, but this is not the time, because a hairdresser will do so many things where they'll look at your face and go, this shape suits you, or you should only take it to here. And so it's not the time to cut your own fringe in.
Right. Okay.
As tempting as all of these things are. But I think, especially you, my gosh, his hair is like the dream hair. But if you have got a fringe, if you already have a fringe,
yeah,
one of the things I would say is to, I prefer it when the hair is cut when it's dry, because I think that you can make so many mistakes when you cut your own hair when it's wet. And I don't know if you remember, like in the 1960s, they do something where it's this part of the hair is trimmed, then it's longer at the sides, and it's so flattering. Like, and so I'm gonna just get my mirror up and do this on my hair. If you do have to do anything, you just would take like a little, that is a triangle in the middle. Can you see it? Kind of like is, and so that's only falling here. And what, I'm not going to cut my own, but what you would do is bring it down and measure how much you want to cut off. Yeah. And then elevate it and cut that amount off.
And you always cut like into it rather than across, don't you?
Yeah, you never cut across. So if you basically, if here I decide that I need to just trim it, if you were to do it, you just go like this.
Yeah.
And then, but if you do it and it's up, then when it falls, it will fall with a softer edge to it.
Oh, okay.
And then what I would recommend is then leaving the corners. Can you see how mine's longer anyway?
Yeah, yeah.
So kind of like having something that's arched. So don't start messing around with this.
Right, yeah.
Because if you cut into a layer that's through here, you know, you can really, you can become disastrously wrong, you know. So just be a bit careful. And I think for some people, just trimming that middle bit is like enough.
Yeah. How is your hair, your blonde hair, that shiny? It's so shiny.
Because I am obsessive about hair masks, you know, I talk about it so much because I really believe the amount you feed your hair and the amount, I do one which is a protein mask and another that's a moisture. Right. So because I just take it really seriously, and because I find that when I mean, mine's obviously lightened, and I've just been to India for 2.5 weeks, so I was in the sunshine. And I just think that if you have lightened hair, it's really important to have shine. Yeah. And so I use masks, probably I wash one time with a conditioner, and the next shampoo I always use a mask.
Okay. And like product recommendations for good masks?
I mean, I really like to mix what I use. And so I have, like, the Moroccan Oil one is amazing, I think. I use the Moroccan Oil Mask a lot. At the moment, I'm using Philip Kingsley Elasticizer. I think that's really, really good. There's there's one by Colour Motion, which is a Wella product, which is new to the market, and that is insane, you know, incredible. It's really light, but I mean, that's actually what I used this morning.
Right, okay.
So now is Colour Motion. And so I tend to mix them all. I mean, it's probably like you, like with skincare, with face masks, I find it's quite nice to rotate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I probably have about 6 in my bathroom. I'll tell you which is amazing is the Virtue mask. Like most of them, I work with Virtue in John Frieda, and the Virtue mask is a turnaround for condition.
I love that one in the little blue pot.
Yes, that's Virtue.
Yeah, yeah, that's
like incredible. So with, you know, again with, I actually, if I do a colour consultation in the salon, I don't do the colour until somebody has taken it away and used it for 4 or 5 times, because then I find that the way the colour sits on it is incredible. Okay. So then, yeah, and so because obviously when you're colouring hair, you're colouring what you have in front of you, you know, the condition that it is. So if the condition is good, you get an amazing colour.
Right, okay, cool. That's
So,
great.
yeah.
So Zoe, say we might not be washing our hair quite as much, because let's face it, we don't really need to. And I mean, I'm a big believer in limiting how much I wash my hair, because I just think it does help to maintain the condition. But there are people going to be using a lot of like dry shampoo products, or like volumizing powders, that kind of thing. What can we do to like avoid massive like product buildup?
It's all about, I think, the way you use the product in the first place, because I do see a lot of damage to people's scalps from overuse of like dry shampoos especially. So I've actually bought some I've got some in front of me. I wanted to just show you how to put it on, basically.
Yeah.
By, instead of just kind of mainly putting it through here, if you can divide your hair up, so take a few sections and then spray something through, but mist it rather than being too much here.
Yeah.
And then come through again. It's really good to use on your crown and good to use through here. Then you leave it on. I'm just going to do one side and leave it while you put your makeup on, and you need to leave it to kind of absorb more, because it will start to absorb all the oil and everything else, and then you brush through. So then, so I think if you're putting it on, and give it an amazing brush. This is,
people like spray it and then start messing with it straight away, don't they?
Yeah, you should never do that, because actually it kind of needs a few seconds to absorb everything, and then it becomes, then it gives you really good volume. Like immediately I can get much more lift here.
Yeah.
But also if you go through my hair, there's no build up from it.
Right.
So I think how you put it on in the first place is really important. I really like to sleep in it, so I like to put it through my hair, then go to sleep, because then I find in the night it kind of moves in, and then in the morning it looks amazing. So I would tend to use it, you know, more at night for the next day, rather than wake up in the morning and go, oh my gosh, and overuse it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's really good.
But if you've built it up, definitely by doing 2 shampoos, I think that the way that you shampoo your hair, if you put the product into your palm of your hand, work it through fronts and back, and then just spend ages moving your scalp, so you're actually moving that product off your scalp. So rather than being on the surface,
right,
come in and just kind of work it through, and take your hands and interlock them at the back, and just leave that product on for a minute before you rinse it off, and otherwise using like more of a clarifying shampoo.
Right, okay.
But I think it's good to alternate anyway. I tend to find if you use too many moisturising shampoos, then you overload. So I think having a few different things is good. The more that you move your scalp, the more the blood goes to, you know, the follicles, and the more, and so for anyone with a dry scalp or with drier hair, it's amazing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's it's one of the things I think now we've got some time to, if you were to spend 10 minutes moving your scalp, I bet you your blow dry would last for longer. Like, try it for me.
Yeah, I will. Because I do get so, especially when I'm stressed as well, the skin builds up a lot on my hairline, and it almost, I think it's like, product build up, but also skin just not exfoliating itself properly type thing. And and stress adds to like redness.
One of the things I would say is just to, I mean, I've got this with me, which is Manta, and this has something which all of the bristles, a very, very gentle brush, and all of the bristles rotate. And so working that in your hair throughout the day, like just like literally going through, that would actually cure the front area.
Oh, okay.
So,
I've got one of those. I've got that actual one.
Yeah. So stimulating it more. I think it's about stimulation, because sometimes, you know, the rest of your hair, I mean, your hair now looks amazing, by the way.
No, I did try, Zoe.
Oh my God, it's like dream hair, isn't it?
This is like full hair wash, blow dry, and then tonging just for you, basically.
Oh, I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. I was sitting there going, your hair looks amazing. Anyway, but for you, if during the day you know, pick up the brush and work through, because I think that we don't stimulate our bodies enough in that way. Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm dry brushing every day at the moment, like every morning, because I've got the time, a massive dry brush, coconut oil on my skin before I get in the shower, and I cannot tell you the difference in my skin. And if you think about your scalp, I mean, I do that a lot on my scalp because it's what I do, but working through, like every morning as soon as I wake up, working through with Manta, just like all the way through your hair. Perhaps you put dry shampoo in first, that makes a big difference. Follow it then at night when you're just massage your head. It's amazing for stress relief.
Doing that dry brushing of your scalp now is something that we can actually do. You wouldn't be able to sit in the office doing that, but you can definitely do it at home, can't you? So if you're working at home, take advantage.
I was thinking that, I mean, on a personal level, I'm like, this time to me is about resetting my beauty regimes, and so I actually add something in that makes a difference. I mean, my thing's the dry brushing on my body. I always use a lot of hair masks, and then I think when we do go back to work, you know, well, physical work where we're outside, you know, the home, I think those things will be set in motion. And also, you know, we're just going to have better hair and better skin, really.
So now's the time to start forming good habits so we can carry on forever.
It's a great time for beauty now, isn't it? Beauty is something that is amazing at this time because it uplifts you. And you know how your body feels and how your sensory kind of feeling is after doing something for yourself. If you run your fingers through your hair and it feels soft or it's bouncy, it has quite a big emotional thing. And so I think that, you know, even if you're only not seeing anybody, to do it for yourself and how you feel every day is huge to get through this period of like unrest.
Zoe, thank you so much. I think that those tips are absolutely amazing. I'm gonna start quite a few of those instantly. I absolutely love that that highlighting technique with the colour wow. That's blown my mind. So I don't know how I could do it on dark hair, but like we'll talk about that another time maybe. But thank you so much. Stay strong.
See you soon. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Bye.